Brabby, why you taking? Oh, man, picking anything. Okay, get my Brabby, bottle water, like drink. When I bottle water, I'm one of my big legs. Oh, Brabby. How can you know that you not know I put it? When you say NZ, you my alley exclusive. Love is sweet and sure I know. So I enjoy my life. Because anytime I can go. Love you and leave me, let me do me.
The other weekend, I will enjoy myself. The way they be in the start going, I will feel myself. My money I'm finished, but I'm moving yourself.
So I hit the club. People were dancing, but I choose to say myself because I went there for something. Then I saw the fine girl was kayaking, I won't go ask it. I said, let me try my luck and see. Maybe she agree. And I cry, I come to see someone who I let them holler. So I talk to myself, let it be your man. But I'm fair, you go be your man. You go be your man.
So I walk out the door, I say, fine girl, hello, what you doing? She say, fine. What you drinking? She say, Shinta. I say, partner, girl, 10. She like, wow. Nete, thank you.
Baby, don't thank me, you deserve it. Or Queen, you deserve it. When you want some more, I provide it. So we start to talk. Conversation going deep and deeper. Putting thought to each again. Be like living sense in her brain. Anything I talk, she say, we going to my heart, she say, where Banaveo, she say,
She agree from waiting down, we are now, I want to operate the juice and I love to me when I get it at that.
She thought I think I again. I'm forced it. But when I'm forced it, made that rape and trying to go to jail, so I play my cool, I choose to leave it. When I go, I will show happy. I will go to people, I will show happy. For that is a hero.
Take brain and she go on and she call me on my phone. Oh baby, I'm gonna send my mobile money no more. You send me money, I'm gonna call it pepper soup.
I'm gonna send it or I'm gonna send it. I say vet, I won't send it, but I choose to send it. So I thought I say text me the number, I will send it. Then I send it. More she call me, said to say thank you. I say let me call her to confirm it. Then I call, she said she receive it. Then she hold the phone for my ear. Jaletta. Then I call her back, she say, hey, how I never back. Minute later she text me again. I'm gonna send her dollar card.
I let it take me a bit. Anyway.
A pleasant good afternoon to all of you folks. We'd like to say good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Good morning, watching us on our Cool Online 2 platform on this wonderful Monday afternoon. The heat is back on your radio on Cool 91.9. Good afternoon to all of you folks. What a pleasant way to welcome me as usual to your lunchtime program on Cool 91.9. And I'm sitting in the house seat for your usual host, Jonathan B. Vassina, and I'm WEEKIE Brooks, and I'm here up until 1:30 this afternoon. Promises to bring you all of the great headlines from Liberia, Africa, and our one word as we talk the talk on this wonderful, wonderful day. Welcome to the Heat, folks, wherever you are. It's always good to be joining us on this wonderful, wonderful platform. Mondays through Friday. This program comes away 12 to 1:30 p.m. And we will not certainly disappoint. We're back on here. Now let's begin with some of the headlines across Liberia. Knowing exactly what's unfolding as president, we are concluding his tour in that part of our country. Musa Belete, the chairman of the Liberty Party, has urged CPP to ban its lawmaker who would approve new banknotes. Yeah, that's Musa Hassan Belete, businessman turned politician, the chairman of Liberty Party. Musa Hassan Belete is urging the opposition collaborating political party to ban lawmakers approve the printing of 48.7 billion banknotes from contest on the tickets of the party in 2023 presidential legislative election. The CPP would ensure, according to him, that all those representatives who signed the resolution for the government to print new money won't be allowed to contest on the ticket of the CPP. That's the call coming there from Liberty Party Chairman Musa Hassan Belete. Former Agricultural Minister and President of the Bonn Technical College, Dr. Roland C. Massacre, has termed critics of the Coalition for Democratic Change led government administration as people who talk too much and do nothing in return to help the situation. Speaking in Kakata-Makibi County over the weekend, a program marking the hosting of the National Patriotic Party's flag reconciliation among other partisans and recruitment of new members of the NPP. He said some Liberians are good at criticizing and indicting every administration from slain President William Arataba to Samuel Kando, and later those same people took on former President Charles Taylor. The Supreme Court of Liberia ordered EcoFuel EFZE eviction from the premises of Shemex. The EcoFuel FZE, which accused Shemex Oil and Gas of hijacking its petroleum storage terminal at the Freeport of Monrovia, has been ordered evicted from the premises by the Supreme Court. The EcoFuel had alleged that it invested about $25 million in foreign direct investment to build a much-needed modern petroleum storage terminal in Liberia, which has been reportedly hijacked by Shemex Oil and Gas facility and was being built over the course of a year to the highest of international standards, using most of the modern equipment and techniques. President George Weah took a dig at Senator Von Sherman and other lawmakers that he said Saturday. He said if they cannot develop their own counties as leaders of the people, then it is a problem. Speaking at his final town hall meeting in Rappersburg, Grand Cape Mountain County, as he ended his second leg of county tour Saturday, Mr. Weah asked the crowd section of citizens that had gathered that they were if they had lawmakers. According to President Weah, this was the question. He said, do we have lawmakers in this county? President Weah asked, is there any lawmaker in this county that did not invest in hotel or invest in his own house, that when leader, that they have lost the trust of the people? The National Elections Commission, through its monitoring evaluation M&E section, will on Tuesday conduct a two-day national stakeholder extended Lesson Learned Conference on the 8th December special senatorial election, constitutional referendum, and represented by elections. Nearly 100 participants, including political party representatives of the 54 national legislature, members of the diplomatic corps, such as the European African Union, civil society groups, and the government of Liberia, will discuss under the lesson learned theme: reflect and learn and innovate. The Federation of Petty Trader and Informal Worker of the Year of Liberia has inducted a new leadership to govern the body for the next 4 years. The new leadership was elected at a national congress held in Monrovia from March 25 to 26, which brought together delegates of the union from Liberia's 15 political subdivisions. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the Congress, Deputy Minister for Urban Affairs at the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Polita Uye, admonished members of the union to be tolerant in electing their leaders. Minister Uye stated that the informal sector is critical towards the social economic development of the nation, which should not be taken lightly. Let's say in Liberia, black market at foreign ministry closed, says Minister Kemia as the ministry introduces new fee regime. Liberia's Foreign Minister Dimaswa Kemia has disclosed that the closure of the illegal collection of fees to expect fees of obtaining documents, including lesser passes, laissez-passer, opposites, and all of these other document corporate jackets at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He said, we have closed the general black market at the ministry. Liberians are all waiting to see exactly what of that will be actually true. Yes, and this one going to be our hard talking segment this afternoon, just before we leave Liberia. Representative Dixon Simbo confront fellow lawmaker in chamber for election murder family members during Liberia Civil War. We'll talk about more on our hard talking segment this afternoon. It's now time we bring you some of the headlines from across Liberia. Flamboyant Malawi Christian preacher Shepherd Buhari has announced the death of his 8-year-old daughter Ishmael. Buhari, whose enlightened Christian gathering church is followed by millions across Africa, did not say the cause of his daughter's death, but pointed out the doctor have told him her life could have been saved if Malawi authorities had not prevented her from leaving the country to seek medical treatment in Kenya. Days after the government of Kenya imposed 7 restrictions on business and movement in 5 countries to curb the spread of the coronavirus, a preacher in the capital Nairobi has said President Uhuru Kenyatta for the decision. Your president and your fellow politicians are to blame for this devastating third wave, and the buck stops with you, said Bishop Peter Abaku from the Peter Church in Western Kenya. He added the majority of the Kenya who now have to suffer from the consequences of their careless action. He said, you continue living your lavish lifestyle thanks to the taxes we continue to pay, even as we lose our source of income, Bishop Akubi said. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah Sisi has held the operation to the free huge container ship that has been which in the Suez Canal, creating a long and the key shipping route by restoring matter to the normal closure with Egypt. Hence, the world can be assured of the path of its goods and needs that are carried throughout the navigational artery. The authority of Egypt have ordered the arrest of 8 people who, over the last week, a fatal train collision that killed 18 people. The AFP News reports citing the prosecutor general ordered that 2 drivers, their 2 assistants, and the guard of a traffic control tower, the head of the traffic control in Alsot, and 2 other guards, be remanded in custody. AFP quotes the prosecutor saying, the leader of Somalia's semi-autonomous state of Jubaland and Puntland have reportedly been convinced to take part in a talks ending the electoral dialogue in the country. The 2 regional heads met their colleagues southwest in Harbour Canton and reached an understanding with central government should resume in Mogadishu, according to Rojo Camilo. Tribute are pouring in Sarah Obama, the great-grandstepmother of former U.S. President Barack Obama. She was the first grandmother of former U.S. President Barack Obama, who died on Monday morning at the hospital in Western Kenya. The Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has also paid tribute for the fallen grandmother of the United States former president, first black president, as a matter of fact, Barack Obama, Sarah Obama. A lot of tributes have been pouring in for her since her demise. A journalist in China had gone missing days after converting protests held in the country. A local human rights group has said Mozi Dabasini was arrested during the 20th March protest and released the same day. His family has been quoted by Chai News Group as saying that he was last seen on the 25th of March. The group said it is not in any police station and he has called for his release in the case he is illegally detained. Madagascar former President Didier Sirakat has died at the age of 84. The country president announced on Sunday that Madagascar have lost an illustrious patriot. President Andrew Rajoelina posted on Twitter. The president sent his condolences to relatives, the military community, and the citizens of Madagascar. Tanzania new leader sacks Magufuli era post boss. Tanzania new president Samia Suluhu Hassan has suspended the director general of the country's ports authority after an audit report showed investment in government funds in a state corporation. This is the first key decision since assuming office. President Samia announced the suspension of Kikuku after receiving an audit report of the financial year 2019-2020. She expressed concern that the port authority had not accounted for about 4 billion Tanzanian shilling, amounting to 1.8 million United States dollars, 1.3 British pound. The Sudani government has signed a declaration of principle that calls for freedom of religion and cultural identity in a democratic state. The government also seeks to separate religions in the state. No religion shall be imposed on anyone, and the state shall not adopt any official religion, the signed document states. Moving into other parts of the world. The Suez Canal rescue workers shipped stranded ship. 5 Gavin has been blocking one of the more immersed and busier routes as it relates to the ship. 9 people were arrested on Sunday after a recent violent incident some factor at the Syrian camp. Kurdish forces entered Syria camp to expel IS group. Baby turtle wraps up in plastic phone in suitcase. Official 485 baby turtles wrapped in plastic and pocket in a suitcase. Mexico revises COVID-19 death toll up onto 60%. The review figure indicate Mexico has the second highest number of COVID-related deaths in the world. Brazilian president ordered to pay journalists damages. A Brazilian court has ordered President Jair Bolsonaro to pay compensation to a journalist after he made the varying comments about her. Mr. Bolsonaro has suggested last year that Patricia Campos Mula has offered sex to souls for negative information about him. The judge said the president remarks had damaged the journalist's honor. And the president was told to pay her 20,000 rounds, 25,000 United States dollars in damages. He can appeal as well. Facebook has frozen Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro page after he claimed without evidence that a herbal remedy could cure coronavirus. He claimed in January that a 10th herb solution could cure the disease. He will be unable to post for the next 30 days. The company said the leader had repeatedly violated a policies in coronavirus disinformation. President Maduro is not the only world leader to face a pushback for social media companies over COVID-19. U.S. President Donald Trump and Brazil Jair Bolsonaro also face similar as it relates to social media posting. U.S. President Joe Biden has put Vice President Kamala Harris in charge of controlling migration after the softened border followed a big influx of new arrivals. Mr. Biden said he was given a huge and tough job task, that she was the most qualified person to do so. The number of people arriving have grown since Mr. Biden took office in the United States. They have hundreds of unaccompanied minors who have been held in immigration detention facilities. Mr. Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump, was widely criticized over his government treatment of young migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. Since January, the Biden administration has reversed the policy of touring away unaccompanied children. Instead of choosing to process them and place them into supervising families in the U.S. Abu Dhabi investment fund agreed to pay 800 million into UK life sciences, with more expected to follow. The world's biggest printing raises 45 million for charity. British artist Shasha Jeffrey spent 8 months creating the world's largest walk-in installation at a hotel in Dubai. Authorities are investigating after 2 passenger trains collided the central province of Suhai. 9 people were arrested on Sunday after recent violent incident, some fatal at a Kurdish camp there in Syria. Firefighters in Indonesia are fighting to put out a massive fire that has broken out at one of the largest oil refineries in the country. The fire broke out at the Bamagan refinery run by state oil firm Pertamina at 45 minutes past 12 o'clock this morning, local time on Monday. At least 5 people are injured and around 950 residents have been evacuated to safety. A handful of people have been reported missing. Australia Prime PM shift WEEKIE accused minister in cabinet reshuffle. Australia Prime Minister Scott Morrison has removed a minister accused of rape from his role as the nation's chief law officer. After a week of pressure, Christian Porter will no longer be Attorney General but will remain in cabinet in a new portfolio. Mr. Porter has strongly rejected an allegation that he raped a girl in 1988 when he was 17. Mr. Morrison promoted several female lawmakers as part of a broader cabinet reshuffle on Monday. The Prime Minister faced intense pressure in recent weeks to respond to a series of rape, misconduct, and sexism allegations which have provoked Neymar Delia Day since the military seized control has left people across the country in mourning. More than 100 people were killed by security forces on Saturday, including children. Some were killed at protests, others in their own homes. Opponents of the February 1 coup called the Death Falling Star. Among them were 40-year-old IEQ, the father of 4, lived in a city of Mehmetland where residents, he said, so concerned and have been so helpful to other residents in that part of the country. Australian city of Brisbane will enter another snap 3-day lockdown to curtail the coronavirus outbreak, which has grown to 7 cases. The Queensland state capital, home to over 2 million residents, will begin the lockdown at 17-hour Monday local time. The city has seen very few locally acquired cases in Australia's first wave of the virus a year ago. Brisbane outbreak, the first reported on Sunday, marked the first cluster of community transmission in Australia in a month now. India COVID-19 PM Modi did not consult before lockdown. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi government did not consult key ministers and states while imposing the world's strictest coronavirus lockdown a year ago, according to an investigation by the BBC. The BBC filed more than 240 rights to information application. The various Indian government department have financed disaster management to farm out how much they were consulted ahead of the lockdown in the world's second most populous nation. With that, we take our usual break. We'll come back and we certainly open up to have a hard talking segment on this wonderful Monday afternoon. But this is the heat, and I'm sitting in for your usual host, Jonathan Vivas, and I'm Wiki Brooks. You can certainly leave a comment on our cool platform. We will certainly read it out for you on this wonderful Monday afternoon. So wherever you are, folks, let's try to see whether we can reuse some of our comment coming in on the platform this afternoon on the heat, and you can ask somebody to also join you and watch as well as we talk all of these talking points, all of these issues coming up this afternoon from this presentation of your favorite lunchtime program, the heat. Let me go to read you some of the comment coming in this afternoon. Those watching us from across Liberia and the world can also leave your comment as well. And this one comes from Ralph P. Williams. It's a following from Alawad, the United States of America. Thank you so much, Sakavai. Good afternoon and good night. And I'm in Sakavai watching you live from my comfort zone in Morrison's Fine. And Johnson Mao say good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. Abdullah M says good afternoon. Vandera said good afternoon, Wiki Brooks. My name is Solomon E. Arayu Kurma, watching you live from New Hope's Island Community Block B from the incoming representative Mohammed Kurma and Company. Thank you so much. Christopher Kwana Jr. said good afternoon, Wiki. And I'm following live from Boca, Washington Institute Campus, Kakata, Margibi County. And this one comes from Daniel Sobo. He said good afternoon, Wiki, and good afternoon tonight. My name is Daniel Sobo, and I'm watching you live from my King Great community in District 6, Maserati County, Liberia. Thanks for the show. Thank you so much for joining us well. And J. Jediton Rich Williams said, good afternoon, Mr. Vi and Mr. Brooks. My name is J. Jediton Rich Williams, and I'm watching you from Monrovia, Crown Hill. Thanks for the update. And Sienna Johnson say, I'm Sienna Johnson watching you live from a Soul Clinic community. And Chris George said, good afternoon, Mr. Wiki Brooks, and I'm watching you from a route light. My name is Chris George. Thank you for the program. And John M. Marvolo said, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. My name is John Tino Marvolo, watching you live from Dwasson Peace Community in Miami County. Thank for the program. Thank you so much. Felix Loa Gayu said, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks, and I'm watching you from a resident in Fender. And Jacob comes in and said, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks, and I'm watching you from Dupotro. My name is Hattie B. Jacobs. Moses T. Bar from Murray Flomo Jr. said, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. My name is Moses T. F. Flomo, the second, watching you from Cooper Fire, ELA Rehab Community. Thanks for the update. And Nawan Miller said, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. My name is Nawan Miller, and I'm watching you from GSA Road, Kisa Camp. Always in prayers, watching cool platform. And this one coming from Moses Dulo said, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. My name is Moses Dulo, and I'm watching you live for Firestone Coventry. Thanks for the program. Thank you so much. See, Roosevelt Clay, as usual, say, good afternoon, Mr. Wiki Brooks, and the peace-loving people of our motherland, Mama Liberia, and the peace-loving people of the Bayero County, Riverside County, District number 2, brother. And this one, Lawson Augustine Sagasha Wilson said, good afternoon. I'm Lawson Augustine Sagasha Wilson, watching you live from Cartwell. Thanks for the platform. Fokpa Zhao said, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. And this is Zhao watching from Habel. And Benji Amin said, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. And I'm watching live from Ganta City in my county. Don Siki said, good afternoon, Wiki. And I'm Alex Philippe watching from this community. George W. Sito say good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. Thanks for the show this afternoon. And I'm watching from Nizo community. Joseph Tembe say good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. My name is Joseph F. Tembe, and I'm watching you from GSS Row. Thanks for the great job. And this one come from Joseph Tembe as well. So thank you so much to all of the folks this wonderful afternoon for joining the conversation on this wonderful day. Let's take this wonderful break. As soon as we come back, we go into our hard talk segment in this afternoon, leading us up until 1:30 this afternoon as we talk all of what we should be discussing, moving Liberia forward and making sure that things are actually on course. So welcome, folks. You can ask somebody to join you as we all, start to do what we can do exactly this afternoon. This, there's two hard talking points this afternoon on the heat that we need to bring before you on the table and have ample time to have you weighing in your input as well as we make Liberia a better country. Our lawmakers have now gone for their Easter break. They are closing up for the Easter break. And ahead of that, there are a lot of things that have been happening at that August's body. We saw on Thursday of last week, there were a lot of interruption when the Great Engineer County lawmakers, former warlord, a professor as well, Honorable George E.S. Bully, was on the floor. And we saw District 16 lawmaker Dixon Sibu interrupting him and pointing finger at him and saying, this man killed my family during the war. Honorable Bully was a head of the warring faction in our country. He was held in Liberia Peace Council, LPC. And Honorable Dixon Sibu said, this man killed members of my family. Dixon Sibu confronted the Honorable Lawmaker and he told Honorable Moses Akagri the time to go and see how best he could put them when they were voting the issue to suspend Honorable Yeka Kaloba for a constant habit of insulting the president. But Liberians, whom in a way have called for the establishment of the war and economic crime courts in this country, but that has fallen from all indication on the dog's back in Liberia. And if you look at the House of Representatives, it's dominated by lawmakers from the CDC, but they have not been able to muster the political will to establish this thing. President, we are in their days in opposition. This is what they advocated for. They told castates, they told people that Barack Obama and they got his approval. And there are 250,000 Liberians who got killed. Today, there are others who stay in tears. Massacre took place. Property got destroyed. But Liberians are electing these same people. See, our lawmakers are now confronting one another. Say, yeah, you killed my people. You killed a member of my family. According to Representative Dixon Sibu. Honorable Bullet made him responsible. I'm not afraid. And that was a full drama of last week, pretty close to the weekend last week. Going towards the heated debate on the floor with Representative Dixon Sibu confronted his colleague Representative George Bullet of Grand Judah County for allegedly killing members of his family during Liberia bloody civil war. Are we now nearing the process of establishing a war crime code that we will not just have to be confronting people into the street? Now, if lawmakers are not confronted, what about those in the upper house who also participated into the crisis in this country? Can we see reason that these people be prosecuted if found guilty and serve the punishment? We have listened to Honorable Teron Gonglo, who also said he wishes he prays that Senator Johnson live long to see and serve his punishment for the mayhem he committed in this country. And there are a lot of them, number of them today, they have been rewarded with elected position, electeds. So we see lawmakers who are sitting, making laws for our country and harboring animosities for one another. Because if Representative Bolle will put anything on the floor for the people of Grand Judah, Honorable Destin Sibo will not support it in any way because he knows this man, he has alleged that this man killed member of his family. Can you imagine? Representative Bolle currently represents the people of Grand Judah County, District 2, and was the former commander of the Liberia Peace Council, one of the fiercest rebel factions during the Liberia Civil War from 1989 to 1997. And he's now looking in the face of his colleague. What next? Are we willing to, because he has all of the political way to talk to his colleagues, to establish the court, other than just, because this is starting with lawmakers among themselves, pointing a finger and say, you killed this person, you killed members of my family, and they are all making laws for that country. But our people are electing these people. The electors are rewarding the people who caused serious mayhem to this country. Things got damaged today. Elections say it's still a problem. Roads connectivity is still a serious problem. Folks, this is where we find ourselves as a country, as a people. This is not ordinary person who going to confront. It tells you to what extent sometimes these things will stall development, because if Honorable Bolle will put idea on the floor, put a bill on the floor, Honorable Sibo will lobby with their colleagues not to buy into such idea. What it is in the interest of the country, because he have seen him as a killer, a man who murdered members of his family. And he kept interrupting, and it told Honorable Moses Akaragwe to walk there and calm him down while they were proceeding to suspend Honorable Yeke Kalaba District 10 Monserrate County for his constant habit of insulting President Weah for the next 4 months without pay. In the lower house, while they were also the lower house had unanimously agreed and have sent the request from the executive to print 48.7 billion Liberian dollars. They are sending to the Senate now for concurrence. And a lot of you are complaining that the lower house is a serious problem to this country. Everything for the executive seems so good to them, they will have to send it over to the Senate. It's now before the Senate. You listen to the Liberty Party chairman. They have threatened to take their lawmakers who were on to sign that request from the executive on their ticket in 2023. You heard the Liberty Party chairman, Honorable Musa Hassan Belete, stating that. Now, if you look at the inflation, we got over 35 billion in circulation and such inflation. So if we increase, what next? Have we put into place the monetary policy and other these things? We have listened to the Deputy Central Bank Governor, the Central Bank Governor, telling that we got over 20 billion outside of the banking sector. The monetary arm of the Central Bank of Liberia. What are they doing? How did they manage to have the money outside of the banking sector? Such amount. They have now approved a printing of a new family bank notes, and they have sent that to the Liberian Senate. Liberian Senate now is now under the obligation whether she will concur with the lower house to print $48.7 billion. And Liberians are asking themselves, you have printed in recent time, just In the last 3 years, you have printed over 20 billion Liberian dollars. Where can we find the money? That we still talk about printing of money. Inflations. $16 billion was brought into this country. There were accusations, counter-accusations from the last government of President Ellen Johnson said in this government. People took to the street, bring back our money. And later Liberians were told money did not get missing. Or the figure that was being put out to the public was not actually the figure. There was a lot of clarities made by officials of government, supporter of the government. Today, Liberians are still scratching their heads. You go to the bank decide not to tell you. The bank has stated that the loan on catch. It will there be the solution now to the problem that we can print? Look at the amount of money we are discussing. We are talking about printing. And the lower house have already gone on to agree, print the money. That's the only way civil servants can get paid. That's the only way pensioners will receive the pensions. What is there for the Liberian people? Liberians are still asking themselves, can the president state, but for transparency and accountability, state the tour, how much it costs? Others say people need not to know. And we are now seeing lawmakers who know exactly who took away lives of some of his family members. And we are now discussing the printing. And Honorable Bility have said, there are others who said this could put President we are in the right position ahead of 2023 presidential and legislative election because financially he will have the strength, the muscles, if the money printed. He's already constructing roads. This could be a tactic, according to some pundits, that he will delay the roads. People are now hailing him for the street lights and all of these things. There are a lot of marvelous things going on. But the thing, the sole intent is to enrich President Weah and the likes of the able lieutenant to have the financial strength to muscle those who want to state power in this country. So in that regard, the CPP lawmakers have been told that once your name surface that you are one of the lawmakers from the lower house who agree for the printing of such amount of money, you consider yourself not on the ticket of the CPP in 2023. And they have also asked the House of Wisdom, which is the Senate, not to concur in printing such amount of money, because Liberians are saying you printed 16 billion. There's no record of how the money being managed in this country. Another 4 billion were printed. Liberian dollars. Have they been able to give a comprehensive report to Liberians and tell them exactly how the money? Has the confidence in the banking sector, commercial banks, been restored? That people will have trust and confidence in the banking system, and when you put your money in the bank, at any time you can go and get the money, other than keeping the susu ma or susu father, as usually call it in our local Liberian term, or to the jealous shop. What have we put into place? Is it now time also that we establish the War and Economic Crime Court to avoid the drama we saw last Thursday with Representative Dixon Sibo and that of the District 2 lawmaker of Grand Jada County, former warlord, Dr. George Bullitt, because this could just lead to another fight one day. What happens if two of them just meet in the corridor and one person carrying a weapon? Have we considered that people should not just walk scot-free around here? Was it the right way when he comes from a political party that love it, that complain over the years of establishing? Now we are seeing personal confrontation now at the lower house. This issue of the War Crime Court being established. Because this is something that a lot of people saying could lead to something else. There are people working at military agency. Now, this is a man who willing now to testify that, look, this man, if he's taken to the court, what is the delay in establishing the war crime code in this country? But we are now seeing our lawmakers confronting one another, saying, and Honorable Bullet were being clear. He said, but I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. The TRC documented in its final report that LPC, which was said were in Southern Liberia, committed 16,708 violations, including forced displacement, killing, forced labor, abduction, gang rape, and looting, among others. So those are the records that there. And we are still joking about these things. And the electorates are going on to reward these people with the key position. These are people now who took away your childhood, your adulthood, destroy your properties. And you place them in the position to make decisions for you. You made a decision for somebody who have committed serious crime to be your leader. Today, you're all crying about the likes of Yeke Koluba and others, but you are rewarding them. And we're now seeing our lawmaker wanting to even fight. The CDC have more lawmakers. This is civil. People are asking that you lobby with your colleague and see the need and talk to President. We have the muster of the courage. 1 minute, President, we are saying, yeah, we'll do it. In the next minute, no. The likes of Mobile Mulu, the likes of Moses Calgary, other folks, the told Casket, the one in Hunger Strike, the mending President Ellen Johnson said to establish the war crime code. Several have done hordes, Rwanda, other places. And these countries today, they are free, safe, and a better life. Citizens are now living, say, yeah, they are seeing those who committed mayhem, who depleted the coverts. I'm not giving public position. I'm not into the cities. The likes of Hinga Nama and Fode Sankor, you saw how they died. The crimes they committed. So we're now waiting and watching to see as to what this war crime court will be established. So the Commonwealth will not just be talking there, because it has now reached a point we know now a high-profile government official know exactly one of his colleagues who committed crimes, killed members of his family in this country. Every time Honorable Bole wanted to talk, he disrupted the conversation and said, this man killed my family. And he told Honorable Gray to calm the situation down. Can this be a leading path in establishing the war and economic crime code in our country? That people would pay for the crimes, the actions yesterday, or this just something behind the scenes? Oh, they'll leave it, start to reconcile, because the crimes they're coming from everywhere. The crime been coming from everywhere. People been talking about this thing. So what happens? Would there be proper investigation into this matter? Folks, let's go to the line this afternoon and talk to our colleagues on this edition of The Heat this wonderful afternoon. Let's talk to this caller. You're live.
Good afternoon, WEEKIE.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, WEEKIE. I'm Irogalaka Nai Tupo.
Weigh in, LCA.
Thank you for this platform this afternoon. And WEEKIE, the fact of the matter that this ruling party and cannot sign the War and Economic Crime Code, it shows concern. And WEEKIE equity must come with clean hands. And this government, and by then when they were opposition, we all were in the vanguard. We all joined the struggle to make sure that the pressurized by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and that war crime code should be established. But to no avail, it never materialized. Now that you come there, I think Labrin that need to go in the street to protest for a war crime code. because it was your voice prioritized in the opposition bloc. But then to see them and now signing to the war plan code, it raising concern to us. And WEEKIE, that act that was exhibited, we should not take it for play. To see honorable men that we send there to serve, and they are raising such issues, it means that all is not well in this country WEEKIE. And because he has more those who play with the law.
Yeah, but Honorable Sibo comes from the CDC, and the CDC has more lawmaker in the lower house. But why is he not mustering the courage, lobby with his colleagues to make sure that they see reason and convince the government to establish the court?
I think we have to raise concern by asking our fellow constituents.
Because there are others who are concerned. There are others who are concerned where Honorable Bullet comes from. Grand Jury, there are Liberians representing. So Honorable Jason Sibo could use that malice against him and store development in that district. For every time maybe you want to put the agenda of the people in District 2, Grand Jury County, he said, no, this man is a killer. We will not support.
Yeah, WEEKIE, you are right.
Thank you so much. Let's talk to other callers you like.
Hello?
Let's hear you.
This is Rosie calling from Mambate.
You're welcome, Chief.
WEEKIE, we need to bring the war crime code. But for this government, it will not happen. The reason why it will not happen is that when it comes to the economic part, most of them involved. And so they will not agree for the war crimes to come. But that be strength. That serious thing coming in this country, serious problem. It started from the hair. You know the first time getting right from the hair, right? And you will see people start attacking people on the street pretty soon. So it's very serious. And for the issue of taking money, because there's someone want to use a sense or idea that they will wasting money to win election. Once they answer of taking money, one cannot get account for all the other money. So for me, they continue sign this thing. But even if they want to money, that they cheat the full currency, that new currency come and people will keep the money into the bank. Thank you.
Thank you as well for joining the conversation this afternoon. Your life.
Good afternoon, WEEKIE.
Good afternoon.
Hello,
You're welcome, love.
I said it's in a welcome. I said I last one last year's talk show. I said a welcome. We should expect the government to bring a welcome. And I started apologizing. We should expect that we should pray for long life that all live. That is all the government that will come out and get interest in bringing a welcome. You see what we give us out there. All the government calling our house, majority of them they are killers. Because they follow somebody that will tell us that you came out and say, hey, see what happening? Who knows the next person follow when because say, oh, you came out and say. So all of them they will not forever for you work out. So let's just pray again, Lord, for the next government of country to do work out in the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And let's talk to the scholar of your life.
WEEKIE, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Where I principal again. WEEKIE, like starting about a year before last one, President, we are sending a communication requesting the House of Representatives to embarking as to if we should establish the World Economic Transport. It was the first time I saw majority will not prevailing, where in 52 lawmakers have placed their signature to that document, agreeing that there's a need for us to establish the World Economic Transport. And also, President, our communication has died not just death in committee room. My attention basically is due to a revelation that came from the newly elected senator of Riverside. He said that there was a theory that went on during the war. This girl, she was very beautiful, and all of those rebels approached her, but then she resisted. So because she felt to love to any of them, they have our murder in the presence of everyone. And he said he will encourage the establishment of World Economic Transport because those people that they study mayhem, they are now in the country now. So therefore, as a son of Lima, I am calling for the World Economic Transport. And when Prince Johnson here, he always come against us. Why should the World Economic Transport be like a communist or Honorable Johnson? So I support the World Economic Transport because in order for Liberia to experience rampant growth and development, there's a need for us to accept our signature to that document. That's for the opportunity.
Thank you. This afternoon, let's talk to this caller. You're live.
Good morning, Mr. Brooks.
Good afternoon. Let's hear you.
And let me say good afternoon to the chief member of Liberia. My name is Lawson Augustine Sagashas Wisdom, and I joined the conversation for Carver. Let me personally appreciate you for your topic this afternoon discussion. You know, I can remember about 2011, in the same government during the time what were called opposition, they advocating on the issue of the war school. Now, you see, there are a lot of ridiculous officials who stand out our strategic position within the government who don't want to work, agree with the war council because of the ridiculous act. So now you see what happening right now, our lawmaker or certain lawmakers trying to raise an issue that someone take away his people's life. And now they try to say things that the Liberian people should listen to. If you are going to, we know to just tomorrow having a particular process. So I still be corrected that this government will never establish war council suffering.
But the person who's accusing Representative Job is a sitting representative. Probably this could just be something that could trigger the possibility of establishing the court in Liberia because he comes from the CDC as well, and the CDC have campaigned over the time.
With the process, I'm telling you that they work out and now they are started because they allow you.
Thank you for your understanding to this color.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joseph Okoya Show.
Thank you, WEEKIE, for the exclusive recognition. Thank you for the platform so much. WEEKIE, the issue of the World Economic Forum remains a national emergency.
You people have continuously called for the establishment years now, but it seems nothing is happening in that process. Now we're seeing our lawmakers wanting to fight one another for accusation, counter accusation.
WEEKIE, I will say to you, it is not that our advocate is not working. But I can say to you, it's just a matter of time. That is why the statement coming from the different of the state lawmaker, we are telling you to not join the phone because of now, WEEKIE, let me say to you, today for the very first time, 10 years ago, when the president student Gara, we start the president, we are by then. For which the president is so up by then. When you are busy,